news is Don Shula, legendary Miami Dolphins coach and an iconic figure in the NFL, died earlier at 90. For those of you that don't know or are of a certain age, Don Shula is a two-time Super Bowl champion who won more games than any other coach in NFL history. Right? The statement released by the Dolphins is, Don Shula was the patriarch of Miami Dolphins football for 50 years. He brought the winning edge to our franchise and put the Dolphins and the city of Miami in the national sports scene. Our deepest thoughts and prayers go out to Marianne, along with his children, Dave, Donna, Sharon, Ann, and Mike. Man is a native of Ohio, where he became a coaching legend. I mean, the 72 Dolphins in their undefeated season, still one of the greatest sports achievements of all time. Yes, our hearts go out to his family. A terrible segue from Shula to Dalton and Dak. Okay, so many of you would have seen my Dallas Cowboys decided to sign former Cincinnati Bengals starter Andy Dalton to a $7 million contract worth $3 million guaranteed for a year. Now, some think that this is really a way of putting pressure on Dak Prescott to sign a long-term deal, right? And not hold them to this franchise accountable number of $31.5 million, because that's what he would count against the cap and would make him the most valuable player, according to the NFL cap, right, in the NFL this year. I think it's interesting because Dak Prescott has reached all the benchmarks that would put him in that tier of needing to be paid among the highest in football, which is quarterbacks, which is the best of quarterbacks. You look at his QBR, you look at his passer rating, you look at how good he was in 2018, and even to a degree in 2019, and you would see, doesn't that dude need to get paid like Aaron Rodgers, like Ben Roethlisberger, at least like Jimmy Garoppolo? To which you go, hey, the two dudes that you mentioned first have won Super Bowls, and the guy that you last mentioned just played in a Super Bowl where he threw an interception with his eyes closed. That's $26.6 million against your cap, throwing an interception in the Super Bowl with your eyes closed. That said, I still think that Dak Prescott is in position right now to win the Dallas Cowboys a Super Bowl and is the best quarterback to do it. Now, the argument for Dalton is perhaps he has never had an organization and the kind of weapons available to him at Cincinnati the way he would at Dallas. To which I would go, I don't know about that, right? Because Joe Mixon is good. AJ Green, when he's healthy, good, right? Tyler Boyd, good. Decent enough on the defense. What it's about is spending money to get him the little things. Get him the offensive line he needs. Get them a pass rush that they need. I don't think that Joe Burrow is going to be the change agent for Cincinnati because I think it's more than just a quarterback. But I like the play here because if Dak Prescott gets hurt, I don't feel bad about Andy Dalton coming in to play snaps. I feel better about it than Cooper Rush. Like, that's just keeping it 100, keeping it real. I think that Andy Dalton would have been great with the New England Patriots for the same reasons that I think he would be a great backup for the Dallas Cowboys. Difference between the Patriots and the Cowboys is quite literally they have the guy that they want, right? New England lost the guy that they had. When really it seemed to be the only person that didn't want him was the head coach and de facto general manager in one Bill Belichick. Now, we also think that Belichick suffers the same thing that many coaches suffer and many GMs suffer, and that they want us all to acknowledge that they did it. It's not enough for Bill Belichick for us to announce that he is the greatest NFL coach of all time. No. He needs to be able to show everybody he can do this without the greatest quarterback of all time. It's not unlike Pat Riley with the Showtime Lakers. You don't get anywhere by taking the ball out of Magic Johnson's hands. You don't get anywhere by taking the ball out of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's hands or changing the offense from something that they know how to do and do well to something that's much more stringent, or running these super long and super hard practices with these aging vets and bodies. I mean, James Worthy is an adult. The man did not want to be running suicides, at the day before the NBA Finals. You see this with Jerry Krause, who has become everybody's favorite whipping boy because Jordan didn't like him and Scotty didn't like him. First of all, don't none of y'all care what Scotty thinks. Second of all, Jordan didn't like children. You know what I mean? Like, Jordan didn't care who you were. If he didn't like you, he didn't like you. And the only thing I can appreciate about that is that he operated with that sort of energy, right? Getting back to Jerry Jones, Andy Dalton, Dak Prescott, I call that just fortifying your team. I'm not at all discouraged by this because I don't think of Andy Dalton as competing with Dak Prescott. But I also, I'm basically walking out this thing that I had with Mayberry for some time about Jameis Winston and Derek Carr. Yeah, if Andy Dalton can push Dak Prescott, I'm fine with it, right? If he ends up winning the job over Dak Prescott, I'd also be fine with that because I want the best quarterback to play. Now, the odds of that happening, not very good because you got a lot of money tied up in Dak Prescott, whether he signs his long-term deal or not, and you have a kinship between Dak and Zeke, right? Even during the virus when nobody's supposed to be gathering, Zeke came over to Dak's house for the birthday party, right? Only dude that looked like he was from the Cowboys in the photos. You also have this kinship with Amari Cooper, right? Michael Gallup knows what he's doing. Devin Smith knows what he's doing. And they all like Dak. They all get along with Dak. Andy Dalton is the new man here. Now, Andy Dalton is also beloved. And that's really interesting because he's coming back home, right? Because that dude was on the map for playing at Texas Christian. Before there was a Brandon Whedon, there was an Andy Dalton. And that gets lost as well, right? I remember vividly how friends would talk about this guy at Texas Christian and how he was really one of the only quarterbacks that Gary Patterson actually liked. He even gave Kenny Hill crap, He gave Trayvon Boykin crap. He's given every other quarterback since crap. Didn't give Andy Dalton any. So now you get the kid who played his college football come back home, and you get to put him in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. And by all, accounts, he's throwing darts. He looks fine. And while he's 0-4 in the playoffs, he's also made the playoffs with Cincinnati. I think that can't get overlooked here because, quite honestly, who expects Cincinnati to do much? I don't. But I haven't lived in an age where Cincinnati was expected to do much. I've only lived in an age where Achilles Smith was kind of, that dude actually played for Cincinnati. Kajana Carter, I remember him. It's not how we view Cincinnati. We view Dallas Cowboys as you better win a doggone Super Bowl because you managed to win 3 in the 90s. And then we had Jimmy Johnson got into Jerry Jones's face. Jerry Jones didn't like it. Jerry Jones wanted to show everybody he could do this without Jimmy Johnson. The same way that Belichick wants to show everybody he could do this without Tom Brady. The same way that Pat Riley wanted to show everybody he could do this without Magic Johnson. And on it goes. Because I'm convinced that in sports, it's not man versus man. It's not man versus nature. It's man versus himself. So much of building a winning tradition and building something that is dynastic is getting out of your own way. Is being content to be humble about it. Is being content to run the same thing over and over and let the praise go where the praise goes, right? It's not enough for some people to get paid millions of dollars because after a while, the money doesn't mean as much as it used to. Your hunger goes away. I think we saw that with most of these dynasties, even in The Last Dance. Toward the end of, episode 6, Michael Jordan's talking about retiring. And I'm tired. A second time. After claiming that he was tired and was tired of the media coming after him in 93 after beating up on Phoenix. And I'm going, yeah, man, that's the job. You don't get to be a role model. You don't get to be sainted in this way without people coming after you. As a matter of fact, you don't matter if nobody's coming after you, media or otherwise. And this includes anybody with a microphone. If you have a microphone in front of your face, expect somebody to criticize you. You ain't got to like it, but how you react to it says everything. How you respond says everything. I'm interested to see how Dak Prescott responds to, one, the criticism of him not signing this long-term deal, and two, to Andy Dalton being in his quarterback room.